Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave. Name straight, new wave.
Yeah. 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 Memories. Memories.
And we just keep the action rolling here at CGL. Welcome on back. We've got some more games to cover here. It's still me. It's still Megalast, but Dex had to go, so I got a new friend by my side. Shadow, how you doing tonight?
I am doing great. Looking forward to some console opens here, Overwatch, you know. Just you and I both just casted the Vicious Sharks the other night, so you know it's gonna be good to see what they're coming with tonight. Because last time we saw them, they looked really really strong, and now they have to go against a mental institution, undefeated team. So
Exactly. I mean, it's going to be a test for the Sharks here after a nice victory the other night, but that was the regular season. This is the mid-season tournament. They got to be ready to prove themselves. Like you said, mental institution, currently a very stacked squad, undefeated, no losses to their name. And they want to keep it rolling in that manner. We have a lot of teams here who are undefeated, but getting a look at mental institution, this starting lineup, you can see why they're so good.
yeah, absolutely, really strong players across the board here. I love the name Cap and Crunch in particular as well. I mean, that's a fantastic name if I'm being completely honest with you. Like I love it so much.
Hey, listen, I couldn't agree more, but of course, you got to acknowledge the rest of the team as well. Galaxy,
Yeah.
Smurfing, and Water and Complex, but Cap and Crunch with the Wrecking Ball icon. I think that's what the kids would call Aura, but on the other side of
Right.
things, you do have our Sharks, which we just saw just the other day, but I think they're sporting
Yes.
a few new faces.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different here tonight from the Sharks. Umbreon and Static are going to be the same, but we have Pla in here tonight, and then we got Infamous and Lucas on that support line. I'm really curious to see how Pla plays. You see they have the Wrecking Ball icon on here as well, so we've got two people that love to play that Wrecking Ball style, which leads me to believe they might want to opt for some sort of dive battle in some capacity at least, you know?
That could be the case here, but we can only wait and see if that will be what's happening here as we are getting a look. We are still in round one. But actually, no, we're looking at the bracket first. I'm mistaken. Dackerson already has their victory, and we did just get to see Snowfall take down Mizuichi Esports. And
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, we actually have potential here for if Mental Institution ends up getting the dub, we could have all undefeated teams at this point in our top four.
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. And even for the opposite side of that, if Vicious Sharks wins, their one loss was to Dackerson in a 3-1 fashion. So I'm sure they especially want to win this game to try and get their get back, you know?
That revenge could not be sweeter, especially here in this tournament fashion. To be a good way, it'd be a good little style points for them here. But now, looking ahead to the series at hand, we are in round one for this match, so we are starting it off on our favorite control map, totally TM. It is Oasis.
Oasis, it's one of the more diverse maps in the control pool, I feel like at least, where you could see Brawl on one point, Dive on another point. You could even run a well, not currently, probably not a bunker style, but a Sigma would potentially work in some capacity. Like everything works on this map to some extent, depending on which point you're on, and that's probably my favorite thing about this map.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good litmus test for these squads here to prove how flexible they really can be early on in the series here. Because again, it's just all about proving yourselves. The regular season is one thing. This is a whole different beast. You have
Hmm.
the extra pressure of these tournament games applied to you. Of course, the winner of the mid-season tournament gets that extra reward of one win added to the column, makes it just so that back half of the season is a little bit lighter on these squads. But again, it's just sometimes it's just not even about that prize. It's just about the ability to say, hey, look, we are
Yeah.
victorious.
Yeah, and I mean, just to even add to that, that one win could end up being crucial because, as you mentioned, a lot of these teams are undefeated. So having an extra win can be like a world of difference between you being the top seed and being like potentially fourth or fifth place, depending on how many teams end up undefeated. You know, so this is a big deal here tonight. Looking forward to see what these teams come out on. I imagine this first point that we're looking at right now is going to be some Orisa compositions, though.
Yeah, I mean, the Orisa has been a favorite here. The meta slowly defining around the horse, and just looking at the rest of these squads around them. I mean, the Juno break backline, it's been absolutely massive, right, Shadow?
Yeah, no, it's been incredibly strong. The the brig, it's just like on a brig, you know. Juno can't really peel for themselves, so having the brig back there to do so is just massive. And Mental Institution opting for the Juno Ana to just go for those big anti plays. So be watching for those antis to come out from Complex. That's going to be the defining factor here.
Exactly here. So now we're getting into the thick of things. The Ramatra versus the Orisa. We've seen this duel happen. Let's run it again. Not one, but two spears, I believe, somehow being caught to the chest of our Ramatra there before forcing the Nemesis form. Now going forward with some nice shots from Smurfing, able to remove the hit scan counterpart on the other side. That Ramatra barreling down the back line now. And it is Mental Institution just currently having a massive advantage, pushing their opponents to the brink, to the spawn room, as now they have to go back and collect the point.
I mean, really, it's just that first pick. The ashes are going to be so crucial in this game. You saw Smurfing get that first pick, and as soon as that comes out, Cap and Crunch is just free to walk forward as hard as they want to with that Ramatra. So it's going to be the battle of the ashes here. Umbreon and Smurfing are going to determine a lot of the ways that these fights are going to go.
These Ashes now taking shots at each other. A little bit of a high ground advantage for Umbreon here, but Smurfing been on the Ash longer, getting close to that big Omnic Butler already here. Just holding this little mini room. Finally, Sharks are going to make their way to the point, but not before Galaxy is struck down. Umbreon will find their Pound of Flesh on the other side here. A 4v4 situation currently evolving, and now this is going to be the go button here. Captain Crunch trying to walk forward in this Nemesis form once again, but this time actually deterred by the Orisa, but that's not stopping Galaxy from going to town, removing Lucas from the fight before paying for it themselves here. And now with another spear to the chest, we're seeing the Sharks take the flip.
It does eventually go the way of the Sharks. It costs you a lot, though. And again, it's just there's those shots coming out again from Umbreon. The big thing is just who's going to get that first pick between these DPSs. That's really the big key factor here. We have a lot of ults available from both sides. Be on the lookout for Static's Pulse Bomb here, though. Let's open this fight up early.
It could be a one-and-done pulse bomb really on either side of the coin here, but if it goes long, plenty of other tools to work with here, as now Mental Institution retaking this small right room. They want to be able to set their Ash up here. The first stick comes through, like you said, Static able to end this fight potentially before it begins. The Ana is down, as well as the big Omnic Butler taken out here. That being said, Galaxy is able to answer back, and it seems like Mental Institution still wants to commit to this. Both teams have now used their orbital rays. The Annihilation also coming out here, trying to duel the other tank. Plush so incredibly low, cannot live for the time being here. And despite the back and forth, despite everything, it seems like Mental Institution should be coming away with it, unless Umbreon has something to say about it. The Bob on point, the shots ringing through, and it just seems like it's not enough right now. This Ash is too low to have a meaningful impact, but not on the other side of things. Smurfing takes out Lucas before falling, actually. This has all just been back and forth across this point. Sharks in control the entire time, getting more and more of this percentage built up, but it seems like Galaxy is finally being the answer that Mental Institution needed.
I mean, if you are going to give up the point, like, look at all this progress that the side of the Sharks are getting right now. The Sharks lost that fight at probably like 45%. They got an extra 30% just off of Bob and Pla walking on the point and existing as long as they could on Orisa. And you held on to your rally as well if you're Lucas. So, like, that rally needs to be big time here, because you got to go before Water gets this orbital strike, or it might just be game over for this first point.
Yeah, I mean, we're ticking towards those high percentages where you have to worry about final fight situations. Smurfing incredibly low at the hands of a spear, but is going to get topped off. Now this Pulse Bomb manages to go wide complex. The actual Neo Matrix dodge there, able to not be stuck by that one. And now a Nano Boost coming through onto Captain Crunch. No Annihilation to pair with it, just a Nemesis form, but these fists are doing damage, chunking through that Orisa, forcing some peel, and now it is 99%. That is going to be an objective touch, but Galaxy removes Lucas mid-rally here. Now the other support, Infamous, feeling the pressure now with no healing to their name. The Sharks can only cling on to life for so long before it will get stomped out, and we will see Mental Institution take round one.
What a great round from the side of Mental Institution. The way they played a lot of those fights, just using just the right amount of ultimates, knowing when to ult dump and when to just, peel back. You lost a player, just peel back, wait for that player to come back and re-engage. Really smart plays overall. And, it really... It feels like Static almost had to stick that pulse bomb that we watched Complex manage to dodge there in the middle of that final fight. And like, that's a tough play to ask for every single time. So, it's just unfortunate it didn't go the way for the Sharks, but now we're seeing Static opt to go on to this May. So we're probably going to see some more isolation type plays happen with these walls. And so that's what we got to be watching out for here.
Yes, indeed, and hopefully those walls, they do come up big, is what the Sharks are hoping for. That being said, Galaxy is above them on the Genji here. Does manage to be found out, but can dash to safety. Now with his anti applied onto Captain Crunch, there's no way to get healing, and so now it is the entire side of Mental Institution starting to feel the pressure that Orisa no longer there to save them, and they are just going to all be forced out as Vicious Sharks gets the first point cap.
Oh, that was close, though. I thought Pla was going to go down to that ante there for a moment. That would have been horrible to lose your tank there at that last second. No real ultimates up just yet, and like you said, a great ante coming out from Lucas to really confirm that fight. Um, yeah,
Exactly. Here, these antis can come up clutch, but Lucas incredibly low right now, as well as that massive anti from Complex here. Now you're looking towards a mental institution trying to walk forward, forcing cooldowns out from Pla. The high ground is under siege, but it seems like they've been stifled in the stairway for the time being. That May wall now being used as a preservation tactic while the entirety of Sharks just regroup, get some healing onto them. And now it is the high ground being taken, smurfing on the Ash, firing shots from above as the duel heads to the point. Both horses wanting to live forever, but Umbreon will strike first in this Ash duel, retaking the high ground without the Omnic present, and it will just be another quick fight win for the Sharks.
and there it is again, just another example of more often than not, it seems to be whichever Ash is getting that first pick off is determining who wins the fight. And now, if you're the Sharks, you have a massive ult advantage, and you need to make sure to take advantage of it, but not ult dump at the same time, because you have such a big time advantage right now in this fight.
You don't want to lose this advantage. That's why you're seeing Galaxy under pressure and will be found out. The Maywall can't double jump over that one, buddy. And now you're seeing the rest of Mental Institution. They're having to make some decisions, but they're being made for them as Umbreon is landing shot after shot. The Maywall Captain Crunch cannot leave here. The Terra Surge being committed as there's no other option right now. You're having to try to get to the point. This Orisa so incredibly low does finally fall here, and it seems as though the Dragon Blade's having to be popped just as a measure to touch point. You do see some picks come through. Umbreon removed, but nobody else gets to the objective, and Sharks take a dominant round 2.
Absolute dominance from the side of the Sharks. I really think the Maywalls in combination with the Antes was just everything for them. We were just constantly seeing somebody get isolated, antied, and then immediately speared and killed. So yeah, just a great teamwork there from the Sharks on that map. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try and do that again here on the last point of Oasis. That was a really strong looking comp for them.
It looked dominant for them. Meanwhile, Mental Institution in the spawn room potentially wanting to try something different here. If they do walk out on the Wrecking Ball, what do you think the value is going to be?
I'm not too sure. Like, it's going to be difficult to get big time value on the Wrecking Ball, especially with Static being on this May. You could potentially catch ball with a wall, and then that's it for the Wrecking Ball. You all can just hard focus that character out. But, I guess we'll see if Cap and Crunch can really get that high value with that character.
We will have to see, as Complex already had to use that Biotic Nade on themselves here. Now a little bit of a slam, trying to force out Lucas to do the same thing. Not able to achieve that just yet here. But as the point is going to unlock, you're going to see some massive touch come through here. Both sides not ready to give this one up. A nade goes long, not able to anti anybody up here. That's now 2 for Complex that have gone wide. As we are just looking forward in this match, Galaxy looking for an opening, trying to make something work and see if the backline is vulnerable, but they're just all stacked on top of each other. It's too dangerous, and they ultimately pay for it with their life. But Smurfing does manage to find that Juno before finally falling themselves, and like you said, that ball, it's going to have a hard time against all of this crowd control abilities, the slow, the freeze, it's all too much, and that's going to be the Sharks getting the first cap.
I mean, yeah, just absolutely great plays overall. And again, shout out Umbreon getting a 4K in that fight. It was kind of delayed 4K, but, a lot of picks coming out from this Ash. But Smurfing getting the refrag could prove fatal.
Yeah, as now this is going to be an opening for Mental Institution. They have the Wrecking Ball. They can play a little bit faster than the average Orisa comp can. As now you're seeing them walk towards the point, forcing the objective. It is going to make Sharks have to commit a decision of touching the point or giving it up, and it seems like touching will be their answer. So now with a spear to try to get Captain Crunch out of the way, just decides, I will go to the back line quick as you like, don't mind me. It is just now waiting the back and forth here. Both teams looking for their opportunity, and it could come off of the Ash play once again here as Static is removed. Going to force Umbreon to commit the Bob on the other side. Meanwhile, ult galore going. Big Omnip Butlers are out for both squads here, but it seems as though they each will only get 1 kill before it is all said and done. Still holding on to this objective is the Sharks. However, that pulse bomb, I thought it was stuck, but it turns out the nano boost was enough to keep Umbreon alive until the anti comes through, and Smurfing finds that headshot. And so at 71%, Mental Institution will take it over.
You're honestly not too mad about that if you're the Sharks. You only burnt the Nano Boost and the Bob. Meanwhile, the side of Mental Institutions burned 3 ultimates. I really want to see if Cap and Crunch can get the big time value off of this minefield, because that's really your main engaged tool that you have in this next fight. I mean, you have Nano Boost, but who are you going to Nano? Tracer, probably? So we'll just have to see how this goes.
To see where the Nano's dedicated. Meanwhile, Cat and Crunch lurking, wants to drop this minefield onto the whole team and manages to do just that. Gonna cause some split. The Ash in the air is free pickings for Smurfing, as they are now getting another pick in this fight, and it seems like that's just gonna call the full recall here for the side of the Sharks.
That was honestly a great pile driver combo. You know, like we keep saying, these Ashes are really controlling these team fights, but that doesn't mean they don't get help from their Wrecking Ball players to set them up for a nice shot at the same time.
Yeah, and the Wrecking Ball is the gift that keeps on giving. Umbreon has just been in the spawn room off cooldown thanks to our heroic hamster for the side of Mental Institution. Now rolling through the team once again here is going to be able to pick up Infamous with the help of Galaxy. This Tracer now hunting for more, wants the rest of the backline. Ultimately, the recall is going to be forced, however. Galaxy so incredibly low, but the shots ring true from Complex to get that healing online here. Smurfing will take out Lucas before finally being found on the other side of things. A 4v4 engagement is the best the Sharks can hope for. Make that 3v3 as trades are still going on. We're watching Galaxy try to make a hero's return here, try to do what they can. Spear goes wide for Blood now as the objective is being contested. This Pulse Bomb is ready, as well as a Nano Boost to add that damage, but the hack comes through, believe it or not. Trying to remove the Tracer from the equation. Now ultimates being dumped left, right, and center, but it seems like Mental Institution is coming up big time. And again here, no Fortify means that there was a ton of damage from that Pulse Bomb, all healed up by Infamous's Orbital Ray here. Now it's going to be more of a commit for Mental Institution. They want to win this here. They want to win this now. And it seems like they're going to be able to do just that. The Bob, the zoning damage from everybody else, it's just too much to overcome. And Mental Institution will take Oasis.
A very competitive map overall, though. We saw some great plays coming out from the Sharks, and then honestly, the big defining factor on that third point did end up being the Wrecking Ball. The Wrecking Ball caught out Umbreon. What was it, about 2 or 3 fights in a row? Forced Umbreon off that Ash over to the Sombra, and they just couldn't get that same level of value that they were getting on the Ash. Just really ended up being super detrimental for the side of the Sharks.
Super detrimental indeed. We questioned the Wrecking Ball, but we got proven why it was working here. You know, I want to go back to that round that the Sharks were dominating, though, and get your thoughts, Shadow. I mean, they were so in control. I mean, what really ended up slipping away from them there?
Honestly, I just think it was the level of pressure that got put onto Umbreon primarily, because when Umbreon wasn't getting knocked down in those early fights, we saw Sharks have a 71-0 lead. Because Umbreon, generally speaking, was winning that duel against Smurfing more often than not, and then continuing to just get more picks. Because once you get rid of the thing that's directly opposing you in the Ash, you kind of have free reign to shoot whoever else you want to and take out however many players you need to. So once that was taken out of the equation by Cap and Crunch, just soloing out Umbreon over and over and over again, it was just easy win for the side of Mental Institution to finish that map off.
Alrighty, well, I mean, hey, the Sharks now have the ball in their wheelhouse. They get to pick from our hybrid maps here. And based on how they reacted to the ball, I don't think they're going to opt into any dive maps unless they're feeling really, really confident here. As we're just looking at the hybrid pool, I mean, you got Hollywood, you got Paraiso, and Midtown. Do you think it is just a Midtown lock?
There's some potential, I think, for Hollywood. I think Hollywood is an awkward map for Wrecking Ball specifically. You would still have to run a dive comp around like a Winston or something to that effect. You know, Winston or Diva, I think. But if the side of the Sharks are feeling good on that, I think, oh, all right, Paraiso, what do we know? You know?
I mean, hey, listen, this indicates that the Sharks, they want to play dive. They feel confident on it. Something that we did just see them play back in week 4, right? We talked about how
Yes.
we got to cover this team so recently here. Their Diva comp was looking stellar here. But again, I mean, it's just willingly opting into Paraiso right after you saw how powerful this dive gets. I mean, is the path to victory simply just helping Umbreon relieve some of the pressure that's on them?
I think that they're not that's most likely the easiest solution is just to probably play the Juno Brig, and play back with your Ash in that situation. The Brig would honestly probably be enough. As long as you're just hitting your whip shots, landing your Inspire, and keeping that up consistently, that should be enough healing to where a Wrecking Ball alone will not be able to kill your Ash consistently. That's what I feel like, at least.
Hey, that makes sense to me. That more than checks out here. But, we do have to consider those other flavors of the dive as well, not just the
Mm,
Wrecking Ball, but the more traditional, the Diva and the Winston.
yes.
We've seen the pros and cons across several matches, right? Diva with more peel, Winston with more commitment
hmm
potential here. I mean, there's still those plenty of options, and we have to see if these squads are going to opt into them.
I mean, yeah, last time we saw Vicious Sharks on this map, we saw them opt for that Winston dive, and then Static and Torterra at that particular time was Torterra, were just in complete unison and sync with their dives, running that Winston Echo composition. So I honestly get the feeling we're probably going to see the Echo come out from Static again, and then maybe we'll see that Ash with Umbreon sat back with an Ana and Brig, something to that effect. Because we all know how hard that Paraiso high ground is to clear on first point in particular. First point in particular is just absurdly hard to clear.
It does require a lot of commitment from squads to, actually be able to clear that one out and make sure that their attacks can go through proceedingly and smoothly here. But while we are waiting for teams to make sure they're ready, potentially do any substitutions if they have
hmm
to. I feel like we've sort of beat the horse. We know we're playing dive. We know we're going to sunny Brazil. What do you
hmm
think is the prettiest part of Paraiso? Is it the beach? Is it Lucio's house? Somewhere in between?
I definitely like Third Point. Third Point is awesome. I remember when the map first released, it always made me think of like, yeah, you remember the Nickelodeon Kid Choice Awards where they would like slime people?
Listen, I was gonna say that's taking me back. The Kids' Choice Awards. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah,
I
they'd always slime people. It's got that like that specific color of green made me think of that.
Uh, so I mean, hey, listen, we're being told that there was just a slight DC. Somebody just decided that they needed to break their computer in half, but that's fine. We can just keep talking about the Kids' Choice Award. Somebody who's far younger than I. Does that still happen? Is Nickelodeon still doing those, or exactly does that work?
Is Nickelodeon still a thing? Do people still have cable? Like, I don't know, man. I'm 30. Like, I'm too old to know these things anymore.
You know what? Honestly, listen, we have time. I've decided I'm hijacking the broadcast. Kids Choice Award. Wait, there's an option for 2024 in the Google fill out. Yeah,
All right.
Kids Choice Awards. They did happen this year.
I always thought those
Um,
I always thought those blimps were like the coolest little trophies they would give out, It's like, oh, I got the little Nickelodeon blimp. Get to carry that home with me.
okay, wait. I'm like looking at the Kids Choice. Like they're over here. Like the cast of Young Sheldon won. What kid was watching Young Sheldon?
That's not even a Nickelodeon show.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm very confused as to what's happening here, and I think this is
Oh
Justin
no.
Bieber performing.
Justin Bieber still performs?
That's what I'm saying. I'm very confused as to what I'm looking
Man,
at here.
that's news
Oh
to
no,
me.
no, that's not Justin Bieber. That is apparently, according to this website, it is someone named Kid Leroy. God, I feel so old. I don't know who these people are.
I didn't know who those people were when I was that age, so there's no way I'm gonna know now. you know.
hmm Apparently, tennis all-star Serena Williams got a Legends Award. I didn't know this was a thing. Like
That's cool.
there's some interesting things at the Kids Choice Awards. I feel like teams need to give us more break. Do you know what I remember more than the Kids Choice Awards? Just while we're on this tangent, do you
All
remember
right.
the Disney Summer Games? They'd get like they'd get like all the Disney stars, and
Mm-hmm.
they'd sort of just do like random events in the
Yeah.
summer every single year.
Yeah, they would do like an X Games style event or something. But here we are, Paraiso. Jesus needs a hug. You can see him back there in the background.
His
Uh,
arms are open. He's actually just waiting to be slimed at the Kids' Choice Awards, believe it or not.
yeah, he's just prepared for it. Just, I know what's coming. You don't have to tell me.
My goodness gracious. So, yeah, we get to look at the sunny beaches here while we wait for teams to load in, comps to be selected here. Probably going to see some shenanigans on the attack, probably a Widowmaker for a moment. But the defense, you can
Mhm.
talk about it a little more, and it seems like they're sticking with the Ono Juno.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like Mental Institution really likes this Ana Juno more than the Juno Brig. So uh, they're just going for the antes. I mean, that's really all there is to it. They love the antes more than anything else, and the nano boost in combination with the orbital strike, they must like that ultimate a little bit better. And Captain Crunch opting for the Diva as well. I imagine that's just because of defense. It's easier to play Diva with the defense, and you're not playing the on a Brig, so you probably don't want to opt for the Winston.
Alrighty, and so the Widow goes up with a damage boost and comes down with no picks just yet, and now you are going to make those swaps over to the Ashe and Ana yourself. Very interesting that Sharks have pretty much just stolen the Ana Juno backline, right? They started on
Yeah.
Brig, but now they've just sort of completely mirrored it. They're like, hey, we want to play Ana too. And like you said, this Winston's going to have some time diving the high ground here as they are just posturing, taking space bit by bit from their opposition of Mental Institution here. But that anti-Ondapla is going to slow this push down as Galaxy comes up massively with some picks. And that should be the fight already over.
Yeah, I mean, what else is new? The Ash players doing what they do and getting the picks. You know, I keep saying it, but it's like that's the carry position on this team right now in this comp. It's going to be the Ash player. Which one can pop off a little bit harder is probably going to be the one that ends up winning the game. We see Pla already opting to go on to this Diva, which honestly makes sense because you have to dodge. Having to dodge the antes constantly is just going to be too difficult. Whereas you can just throw a DM in the general vicinity and you'll get that.
Defense Matrix is a powerful ability here, and Umbreon also powerful, answering back, taking Galaxy out of the fight here, now missing their Ash, receiving Mental Institution, give up space, hand over fist, not wanting to succumb to a snowball effect here, but that may be too little too late, and Dynamite comes through, and it'll actually be Static, the one end up caught on the other side of it, Smurfing able to find out their counterpart here. And so now Sharks applying pressure to the point, but ending up backing up in fear of the orbital ray after Umbreon goes down as well. That might just be an orbital ray they didn't need as the fight's already decided.
So, I mean, if you're the side of the Sharks, you're pretty happy with that. At least you get that ultimate out of the side of Mental Institution, but you don't really build up any ults yourself. So, like, you have Bob from Umbreon, but that's really about it. Well, I guess you got Pulse Bomb and Diva Bomb as well. But now we're going to see Complex with this Nano Boost available and probably going to give it to Galaxy, I'd have to imagine, with the way they've been popping off.
It can be applied to anyone, but that Pulse Bomb, it goes wide here. Umbreon not going to be stuck by that one today here. Now both Divas fighting over control of the high ground here, but Plus Mech already dropping incredibly low as we are just on board with Umbreon looking for these shots here. Gonna just chuck a few into the defense matrix, waiting for that opportunity here. And it seems to have struck, finding the follow-up onto Smurfing, removing that Tracer from the fight. Now the Nano Boost being dedicated onto Captain Crunch, trying to turn the tides of this fight, but it's actually being turned the other way here. Pla with an opposite Nano Boost removes the Ana here. And it seems like Sharks are going to be able to start getting cap on this point.
Yeah, we're going to get a little bit of cap from the side of the Sharks. I imagine 2 ticks, and then we're going to see a touch come out from the side of Mental Institution with these ultimates.
That's what we're expecting here. As now Mental Institution, they're ready to fight back into this one, but it will be a Bob in an orbital ray from the Sharks. They're trying to put an exclamation point on the end of this fight here. It is back and forth. Galaxy and Static both missing for their teams. 4v4 on the point, and you're seeing Umbreon just fire shot after shot into that Diva mech, but because of the orbital ray, Captain Crunch just so healthy. Now the Ana found out of position, able to apply a nice sleep dart plus an anti, though, means that D mech is going to come through here. The bomb dedicated, and only one shot means Umbreon had to hit it, and it just was not there. So that Diva is getting back into the mech. As now you're seeing recall forced out, both these squads giving it their all in this fight, but Sharks getting more and more pressure on the point. Mental Institution's gonna have to send somebody out to get it done here, and Static will remove Galaxy in the backline, going for a pulse. It ends up going wide, but it's dragging the supports away. It means that Cat and Crunch does not have the healing they need here. As we've entered overtime, this fight has gone on so damn long. The mech has been removed, and Cat and Crunch will finally fall, and that should be the end of the defense.
Ooh, oh my goodness, we finally see the cap coming through for the side of the Vicious Sharks. That was such a tough fight to finish off. And like you said, people were just, we saw Static pulling the attention of the supports in the back line. We saw Pla just existing as hard as they could on that Diva in the front line, forcing out all those cooldowns. And then eventually it goes the way of the Sharks. And now they're going to get a lot of push here because the fight's not going to happen until basically they get around this next corner.
Defenders having to take time to regroup, take control of these high grounds, and fight back and forth for them. As you're seeing here, Pla losing half that health on the mech, having to now try to commit after being healed up. But it is just a tale of two divas. They're both on the same side of it. Nano Boost first coming through onto Captain Crunch, not able to find a pick just yet. Finally now does get the one onto Umbreon here. Lucas choosing not to dedicate this nano just yet. Now decides to go while still being down one. An interesting decision to say the least, as Lucas is under pressure. Both supports incredibly low. It will be Infamous the first to fall here. That Nano Boost is able to remove Galaxy, but not much else. Now Pla forced to use that Diva Bomb just to get back into the mech here. And this payload, it has not been moving as far as the attackers would want it to. The Sharks have been being staved off here a little bit, as now you're seeing Umbreon fire shot after shot, able to demech the Diva, but Captain Crunch had the bomb ready to go there, able to get back into mech, and now the Tracer smurfing, trying to apply that pressure. The Pulse Bomb, unfortunately, does not connect here. It is just this back and forth affair here, as everybody seems to want to reset.
And we're going to get a soft reset here. Mental Institution only going to have the Bob available for this next fight. The side of Vicious Sharks, this is the fight that you have to win if you want to cap this next point. Well, because it's last fight, but also because you have the ult advantage here with the Orbital Ray available to you, as well as the Bob.
A good anti to start from Mental Institution, but now Umbreon coming alive, able to remove Smurfing once again, probably with the help of that Orbital Ray that you're seeing from Infamous. It's just moving where it needs to go. Now Umbreon on this forward high ground, throwing the Bob in, so nowhere is safe from the damage here. They're having to dedicate Sleep Dart to try to stop that Omnic Butler from shooting them all here, but it seems like Mental Institution is going to choose to regroup.
Really smart play from Mental Institution. They should be able to stop this cap from coming through with their ults, unless that happens.
Yeah, Galaxy removed after dedicating Bob. Now a Nano Boost is completely negated here as Captain Crunch trying their best to live through that anti. They're able to do that for the time being here. It is just this payload inching ever closer to a point B cap. Overtime seems to be where the Sharks come up the clutchest, but it is going to be just a touch here for the time being. Captain Crunch trying to keep the payload in contest. Meanwhile, Umbreon again finding Smurfing. Now the Nano Boost is on the other foot. Pla once again just going into the backline, not having to worry about anything else. And it seems as though everybody on the side of Mental Institution is just too worse for wear. They can't do anything. And in overtime again, the Sharks keep it moving.
I got to be honest, that pick from Static was everything. That was the entire reason that the Sharks just capped that point. Galaxy being out of that fight and not being able to do anything other than just throw a Bob in and then do no more damage behind that. Huge, absolutely massive value. And now we're looking at, honestly, a pretty even fight coming up here next. The Orbital Strike's going to be big time from Mental Institution, but maybe Umbreon does that again, you know?
Umbreon, these shots are crisp, elite, some might even say. This Ashe play, this is what happens when you are not under pressure. You get to thrive as they have been so far here. So now this payload is going to keep on rolling. It seems like Mental Institution, they're again choosing for a soft reset, waiting for their fallen comrade to rejoin their team.
And I mean, this is all in favor of the Sharks because you're going to build up to your Orbital Strike here shortly as well. Infamous getting really close.
Yeah, the peel back and forth there. Both divas wanting that tracer, one to protect, one to kill, but Galaxy finally going to be able to deliver here. Now with a duplicate actually out from Static here, trying to get a orbital ray online here, a second one if you will, but Infamous already missing. Somebody from Sharks has to get over to that payload as we're once again getting close to overtime. Smurfing kills Umbreon though, and there's so few members of the Sharks left that they are going to be worse for wear. The Diva has been demech, the Lucio has been dispatched, and that payload is only going to get to that final corner.
I mean, that's still a decent push, though, if you're the side of the Sharks. Paraisos is a notoriously hard map to push, so you're not super upset with that. You could manage to get a stop either first or second point very easily if you're the side of the Sharks. I mean, you could have been full held if you were the Sharks. I mean, we witnessed it. They had to cap both points in overtime. So if they play as well on defense as they did on the offense, Mental Institution could have a tough time, and we could be seeing a tied up series here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, the Sharks definitely doing a lot better than we thought. That could have been a full hold, but they seem to have that extra level of gas when they needed it until the
Hmm.
end here. So we'll have to see how these teams choose to adapt, especially with Static, going over to the Echo at some points instead of the Tracer here. You have to see that the value that Echo was getting.
I mean, yeah, it's really just a matter of landing those sticky bombs. If you're consistently landing those sticky bombs, you're going to consistently get the eliminations, and that's all you really need to do. It was just kind of tragic that the copy did not get the value that you were really looking for if you were static in that last fight. And I think that's one of the primary reasons that the Sharks weren't quite able to finish. The Juno copy just wasn't able to get as much as you would have wanted it to. Yeah, might have been trying to go for the Ana copy, honestly. The Ana copy can be massive if you land those nades properly.
The nades are always threatening here, as I didn't even realize Diva had an emote for just, throwing out the dollar bills. But hey, you learn something new every day as we're watching the attack start here for the side of Mental Institution. And again, it's a very similar approach, right? You're slowly trying to take the high ground, slowly push the Sharks back, but Umbreon is going to stop that push in its tracks. The Shark has found the water, some might say here, with the Juno missing, and that dynamite, we're just gonna print it ahead and nobody saw it.
I mean, that happens to everybody. That goes to show. And then Plug gets smurfing. I mean, my goodness, the Sharks are playing this so well right now.
Exactly. An anti-Ondapla, though, does force a retreat for the time being, making sure that healing can't come through, as now a Mental Institution, again, waiting to make sure their member gets back into position. Smurfing has to be ready with these ash shots for whenever Captain Crunch decides to engage. Now you're seeing a bit of a double pincer. Galaxy already had to force the recall, though, because, again, it's just so pivotal having your supports on these back high grounds because they can do so much. The damage, the healing, it's all there for these squads as you're just continuing to see this posture back and forth. But finally, it's going to be a nade that's going to start things off. Smurfing removed from the fight, as well as water now gone here. They do manage to get static for their troubles, but it seems like that's all that's going to be got for the side of Mental Institution.
I mean, you lose static, but like you said, you managed to win the fight outright, so you're not too upset about that. And Copy is one of the fastest building ults in the game anyway, so all Static has to do is land like one batch of sticky bombs, and boom, you got your Copy up and running. And the ult advantage is just massive for the side of the Sharks coming into here. You need to watch for this Nano Diva. It's been coming out a lot here, and I imagine it's going to right now. It's for this push for the side of the Mental Institution.
These Nano Divas have been putting in work, and this time should be no exception here. Captain Crunch already incredibly low in the mech, though, choosing instead to get back to the team here. But Galaxy coming up big, not one but two picks in the back line, able to do their work here. This is the opening Mental Institution have been hoping for. A Bob is the only thing deterring them from the point for the time being. So now you are seeing what is going to be a very similar attack, right? Mental Institution, they're waiting for their opportunity, but it seems like a tick is not even going to be handed over, as Sharks are already ready to re-engage at the cost of Plus mech. They will give up that first tick as well as the orbital ray here, but there is still plenty of room for a recontest. Both teams going back and forth, doing what they must do. But this point is getting close to capped here for Mental Institution. It is going to be Umbreon finding one on the Smurfing, but Pla has to give up their mech. That means somebody else has to be on this point for the defense here. It is going to be a duplicated Echo for the time being here, but already D-Max off the point. That Echo can only live for so long, so now other members are having to commit. The Ana falls down. The Juno and the Ash are doing what they can, but Umbreon, you're in the open. So is Infamous, and it will finally be Mental Institution capping.
And I mean, that's kind of an overcommitment from the side of the Sharks, if I'm being completely honest. That might steamroll itself into a second point capture for Mental Institution because just look at these ultimates now. Vicious Sharks used basically all of their ults in that fight just to lose it. And the side of Mental Institution really just used Bob. And now look, they've got their other 4 ults online. So like it's going to take a miraculous play from somebody on Vicious Sharks to stop this from being a roll through second point.
And we will have to see about that roll, right? Because it's all about making sure there's not too much time at the end of the map, since it doesn't even have to get all the way there here. Galaxy simply taking tabs on the opponents, waiting to see what's going through. And that stick is massive, knowing Umbreon was there. The call out was made. And now the Ana feeling under pressure. Lucas missing from the fight here. Galaxy has done their job 10 times over. And this payload should keep on pushing. Or no, yeah, wait, the payload is pushing. I'm crazy.
Yep, just barely. They're pushing P just a little bit, you know. Just a little bit. There might be another touch here from the Sharks. It's going to be close. If there is another touch, this is the moment. Sharks have to win this next fight. It's going to be their best chance of holding this second point and winning this map, winning this fight right here.
This fight will be crucial. The end of point B in sight here, but a Nano Diva is going to make that incredibly difficult. Pla now able to do a ton of damage here, but that Nano Boost is slowly but surely wearing off in the face of the rally. Meanwhile, Captain Crunch didn't need a Nano, simply able to just go at it, removing Umbreon from the equation here. The attackers are getting a full head of steam behind them, but that being said, they are having to play a little bit safe. This Ana so incredibly low, but Complex is found out from Pla, and it seems like the Sharks, they found their opening in this fight. Now Pla able to get back to their own Ana. The healing is applied. It seems like this is going to have to be another soft reset.
You got to hold on as long as you can. If you're Pla, you got to wait for your DPS to get back. That's going to be your biggest chance to win this fight. And there goes Bob.
Yes, Smurfing Bob into the back line deep as it can, and Umbreon now going to find Smurfing on the other side of things. It seems like that Bob just went too far back, nobody able to find it, and the Sharks defense is starting to pay off here as they're dipping below a minute for the attack.
Ooh, that fight was tough. That fight was really tough for the side of the Sharks. And now it's going to be up to Static's copy here. Static's copy needs to be huge.
It's already activated onto the Diva once again here, finding out Galaxy on the Tracer here, trying to make sure the Tracer doesn't get free access to the backline is all this Echo duplicate needs to do here. That is the entirety of the duplicate wasted. However, no kills comes through from it. Meanwhile, a massive anti is applied onto the Sharks here. Lucas and Static so incredibly low, but they're staying alive for the time being here. Now Mental Institution back on the payload, using this rally to push forward with the help of water, but it seems as though the Ana has been found once again. Lucas cannot stay alive here. Meanwhile, it is just a pulse bomb. It's whiffed, but the damage is done. You've traded back and forth now. This payload's so incredibly close. Both teams need to make sure they stay on it as we're entering overtime. Galaxy does manage to remove Umbreon, and Galaxy again in the clutch when Mental Institution needs it. This Tracer comes alive. That's 3 for the Tracer, almost a 4th. You didn't need it officially. And now that will be us moving into point C.
And here we go. Minute and a half to go. It's looking like right now Mental Institution is going to get set up with some nice ultimates by the time we're getting to the end of time here. If you're Vicious Sharks, you kind of need to force this fight as early as possible because you don't want Mental Institution to build those ultimates if you can help it, because then they'll just be able to ult dump and win this map on you. So you need to go fast if you're Sharks.
Yeah, you want to go fast here. You want to try to end this as quickly as possible. But, that's easier said than done here. The Nano Boost already, again, applied to Plut in the backline, able to remove Smurfing. And now, even though Captain Crunch, under pressure from the D.Va, says, you know what, I'm going to take your Ash with me. And they do that in a very nice fashion here. So now, this payload, it should keep rolling for the time being, as Sharks are starting to find themselves short-handed, with Static also going down, that Echo being punished. The nade is there, and all of a sudden, this payload looks completable.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The Sharks do hold on to those ultimates, though. They need to get this touch, and they have the ult advantage if they can get it. But can they?
The Bob is going to be their touch, as well as Pla on the D.Va, making sure that Bob doesn't get burned down. Now the Orbital Ray is going to be traded 1-for-1 with the rally here. Extra armor versus extra healing. Who's going to come out on the head of that one? Because again, we have the payload in contest here, but somebody has to stay on it. It's so incredibly close. The Sharks cannot give up another meter, but they might just have to. Static dies with the duplicate. So now it is a short-handed D.Va bombing affair here. Pla has been removed and nobody else gets to the cart. Mental Institution, sneak that one in and go up to match point.
Oh my goodness, what a great swap over to the Brigida. Like, shout out that Brigida swap. That was really denying a lot of what Static was trying to do. You wouldn't expect that, but the whip shots coming out from the Brig were just that little bit of extra damage that was needed to really stop that Echo consistently. And, like I said, you wouldn't expect that to be the case, but we could see it time and time again. Water was just popping up in that kill feed with that Brigida on those flails and that whip shot. Matter of fact, Water got the last 2 kills of the round right there. So, huge clutch Brig swap for sure for the side of Mental Institution.
Yeah, and I mean, we know, this is why the Juno Brig is the meta, not Ana Brig here. It's just a little bit more survivable, and you have those clutch moments coming up here. But Mental Institution, after a very close map, they do manage to set themselves up to have only one more point standing between them and another victory. Sharks, they're back against the wall. Mid-season tournament on the line, are gonna have to come out clutch on Clash, but that will just have to be on the other side of a short break. So run to the restroom, get yourself a snack, do what you need to do. We'll be right back here with all the action in just a minute.
Cash and the ticket is yours.
Let's have a bit of fun Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Welcome back. Hopefully it wasn't too long for you there at home. Hopefully you could go grab yourself a snack, get interested, get invested here, because both of these squads have been giving it their all, but it seems as though, Shadow, the mental institution has been coming out ahead.
Yeah, just barely, but they are coming out ahead like every single time, resulting in the map wins just going in their favor. And I mean, if you were going to turn a series on its head, I think Clash is probably the best spot to do it, because I don't think it's really been solidified just yet exactly what is the perfect meta thing to play on these particular maps. And I mean, we're seeing a lot of swaps come in right now, so I'm thinking that maybe these teams have an idea of some different comp they want to play. So we're seeing Gur come in on that DPS line. And then I'm pretty sure Galaxy was already in previously, or did they swap out on party? So
No, Galaxy's been in, dominating on
Okay.
Tracer. This is just a me when I lie moment, I think, coming from our back room. But hey, you know what? It's fine. It happens. But yeah, Gur being the highlight there coming in. And then we were asking where our second Pokemon was at the start of this series, Shadow. And here he is in all of his glory. Torterra, the owner of the 19 vicious teams, is here in the flesh. I guess when the Sharks need him most, he arrives.
I mean, I have a feeling of what's about to happen right here. The last time we watched the Vicious Sharks play, they ran just a blitzingly fast Junker Queen composition on Clash. I see no reason why they might not do that here, and that's the perfect sort of thing to try and throw off the side of Mental Institution. Just run at them so fast they can't think and try to outplay in any sort of way. But maybe the side of Mental Institution is ready for that as well. We noticed Gur's picture was a May. Maybe they're going to try and like isolate out some of these players as they try and run as fast as they can with this queen. And we are going to see Throne of Anubis as well being the pick over Hanaoka.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every single team has decided that Throne of Anubis is what they would rather play than Hanaoka. Not wanting to opt into the high grounds, it's a little bit too random. Throne of Anubis is very set in its ways. You know what you're getting across all of the points. So, you know, I more than understand the appeal there. But, you know, that being said, Throne of Anubis, it could be that final map, like you said. If Vicious Sharks, it's going to require that breakneck pace once again here for them to come forward and do as they please if they want to start battling back in this series.
Yeah, yep. And I honestly would say if there was a map to do it on, it's Clash. And if you can flip the momentum on its head on this map, if you're the Sharks, a reverse sweep is possible. Like this is a 2-0 game, but this isn't a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. Both of these games have been like one fight territory type of maps. You know what I mean? Like it could have very easily been 2-0 in the Sharks' favor or 1-1 for that matter. You know, there's any number of ways this could have gone. It just so happened to go the way of Mental Institution. So I want to see how they're going to respond to this Junker Queen comp I expect to see come out from the side of Vicious Sharks.
And it's going to be an interesting response, right? We saw the Orisa come out earlier. But
Mhm.
probably what I would expect from Mental Institution, as well as just on paper. Orisa's an amazing Junker Queen
Mhm.
counter, regardless of the meta, right? That's how she's always sort of existed as a
Yeah.
niche. You have the spear, you have all these abilities that just sort of negate what Junker Queen's whole gimmick is. Um, but yeah, only time can tell here, but it seems as though we are getting the word the map is loading. Believe it or not, we're going to get to see some really cool cinematics
Right.
courtesy of our amazing observers.
I mean, honestly, as silly as it sounds, Mental Institution could even run that Wrecking Ball comp. I mean, who are you running at with like a full Wrecking Ball dive with Joker Queen? You know, it's just it. I imagine that would be difficult to try and deal with. You could run the Diva even if you're the side of Mental Institution. And what is that? Is that like clay? Is that powder? I don't know.
I'm gonna go with spices. I don't know which spice in the world is green and blue by default. I think that might just be a little bit of the our US's favorite food dyes starting to leak into the local produce here in Egypt. But I mean, yeah, as you're looking at these comps in the spawn room, I mean, Mental Institution on the Malga, do you think it's real? Yes or no?
It's looking like it is for the time being. Uh, I'm interested though. Like, you know what? I don't think this is legit because I don't think you would play Mesa Metro with a Mauga, unless that's just what the kids are doing these days, and I'm just out of the loop.
Well, we will have to see because it seems as though the Malga is real. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, no Junker Queen. Instead, the standard meta, the Orisa, will be helmed by Torterra. No longer a turtle, instead the horse here. So Captain Crunch actually going to have to be the one to be the fast-paced gamer, going in very quickly here. You don't want to stall things out if you are the Malga, but Torterra already getting to work. Remove Gur from the equation, but that's a bigger pick. Infamous the Juno, no healing to be had now. It is just Lucas trying their best for the side of Sharks, and now actually you'll see Captain Crunch go in, drop incredibly low. That healing is not there. The spin was perfectly timed, and Umbreon following up on some massive shots should allow the Sharks to get the first point.
Oh, and Static popping off on this May once again. Look at those shots. And here you go, Cap and Crunch immediately swapping on to the Orisa themselves. And I like this swap. You can't really get isolated out as easily by the Orisa when you're also an Orisa. It's like, hey, I can go gold too. You know, I can be immovable too.
Yeah, the immovable, the fortify is just too strong here. Spears are being chucked back and forth, but it seems like the Sharks once again want to get aggressive here. Fortify forced out from the side, but actually Torterra doesn't even get to pop a single ability. Galaxy with a high charge beam. The Symmetro able to do that with this insane damage output. As point B unlocks, it will just be the Sharks resetting, and it should be Institution getting this cap.
Yeah, Mental Institution just getting that early pick onto Torterra, really big time. I mean, May Sim, those are two things that can just melt an Orisa almost instantly, and no ult from either side being used. Is there going to be a touch here?
Touch does come through, but you're seeing a Juno ult start from Infamous here. Complex didn't have that one online, so Water instead using the Amplification Matrix, but will die to Infamous. Now the ults are trading back and forth here. You're seeing this wall being used as a defensive tool to try to give Mental Institution some more sustain in this fight here. However, that spear does not result in a kill. Able to go into the cryo is Static, but Galaxy does manage to find one onto Umbreon here, so a bit of a 4v4 situation, but it's going to make it 4v3. Galaxy does high charge Symmetra. Nobody's looking at him. He's charging the beam. He's doing the damage. And all of a sudden, Mental Institution comes up clutch again at the hands of Galaxy.
Oh, I mean, just the cheeky little teleporter behind everybody, burning down everyone with that Symmetra beam. That's exactly what you have to do if you're Galaxy. You got to do these quirky plays, catch people off guard. But, you know, that can also happen when you're doing those types of things.
Exactly. Now Torterra Having that first pick, looking for a bit more here. Might be overextended at the hand of the walls here. Captain Crunch actually investing the Terra Surge. Nobody pulled in, but the Blizzard was thrown on top of it. A little bit preemptive for Mental Institution, thinking they'd have a combo. But Galaxy again returned to the fight, removing the Mei here. It's just this Symmetra has been the highlight of the map so far. Now both Meis out of it, and Torterra going forward, removing Complex as well before finally being chunked down to their own life, removed from the map. Both healers alive for the side of the Sharks, just keeping each other up on the objective, trying to keep this point C rolling here, but it seems like their time is short for this world. They're having to walk away for now, as point C is going to slowly go towards the institution.
I think, though, there's going to be an easy touch here coming out from Vicious Sharks. I love this window placement from water, though. Going to be tough to touch if you're the Sharks.
Yeah, the amplification makes her chuck it, and the Orisa just bops her off. Captain Crunch had the spear spin ready. So now Infamous investing a Juno ult into a fight that's already lost. You're seeing the kite from Mental Institution. They're more than happy to sit this one back because now they can just put their foot on the gas after the fact.
I mean, that's tough. I mean, you expect that touch to come through, and you might lose Torterra here if you're not careful.
Oh, it's definitely a risk, as now the Orbital Ray from Complex, but the Blizzard from Static trying to make it so there can be no follow-up here. A phenomenal zoning tool here, but there has to be more than zoning. Kills have to come through, and not on that side if you're the Sharks. Lucas has been removed, but now that Terra Surge from Torterra holding everybody in place allows you to finally start getting some of these Mei Icicles to connect here. Umbreon will fall, but it seems as though the Sharks have stabilized, and we're heading back to point C.
I mean, just a back and forth map so far. We're looking at 2-2. The side of Mental Institution is going to have their Terra Surge. Gur getting close to this Blizzard. Nothing available for the Vicious Sharks. They're going to have to go into this fight dry and just hope that they can really, they're going to have to really outplay the side of Mental Institution to a high level to win this upcoming fight.
It is what they have to do here. Is we basically reset to neutral here as we're on board with Cat and Crunch. The thing that's not neutral is this Terra Surge, as now you're seeing the Mei wall already out from Torterra, walking forward, pulling everybody into it. It is going to be a bit of a zone thing. Torterra is not long for this world. The Mei comes out of cryo and catches a spear to the face. Some shots from the fusion driver means Mental Institution will take the lead in our clash map.
Oh, gonna go up 3-2 other side of Mental Institution. It only cost you the Terra Surge, so you've still got the Blizzard. You've still got the Amplification Matrix coming up from water. But the side of Vicious Sharks do have their Orbital Ray, and that could be enough to deal with what's about to come out from the side of Mental Institution, especially if you do something like that.
Yeah, Complex, again, another early pick onto the Juno here, and Gur just feeding themselves in after the fact here. The Vicious Sharks very good at winning this D point, but they have to take C again if they want the map in their favor, and they want to be able to win it.
Well, and I mean, with the rate at which Mental Institution just died on point, there may be a chance for them to touch. Galaxy gets Lucas. Wait a minute now.
Wait, they're actually committing to this. It's not done yet. Point D is not free as Galaxy high charge again on this Symmetra, just teleporting into the backline. Somebody look at this guy. He's killing your whole team. Now the Ashe, the next one to fall. Torterra was able to remove Complex, but it wasn't enough. Point D now heading towards Mental Institution. This could be putting the entire series on series point here. 1 point stands between Mental Institution and their advancement.
Something worth noting, only one tick is needed on this last point for the side of Mental Institution to win this map. They only need a singular tick, and they've got the ultimates to do it for sure.
They do indeed. This is going to be a battle back for the Sharks, if anything here. Torterra already incredibly low, now having to stand in the face of the Amplification Matrix, able to hide, but now the Sim Wall provides too much cover from their Mental Institution. Lucas does have the rally out, trying to give that extra health over, but like you said, you have to stay on the point here. Torterra's Terra Surge able to remove the Immortality Field, but not much else. Galaxy now missing. The Juno ult is massive, though. It's giving the damage that Mental Institution need, and it seems as though it is just the Bob, a lone survivor here, as that tick is slowly gaining progress. Everybody's on stall heroes now, trying to get onto the point. Lucas falls already. The Doomfist is on. for the time being here, but how much longer can that really last as the Juno pulled back in? Infamous stuck with the Terra Surge. Torterra manages to kill Water, but it's just the Doomfist against the world here. They do manage to get a bit of a reset on the point, but now this tick is going to slowly tick up. Vicious Shark, their whole team's respawning now. Is anyone going to be able to make it out? It seems like the answer is going to be yes. It's just going to keep on going. They do manage to remove Complex. Umbreon could be the hero at the end of the day that keeps this series alive. Shot after shot ringing true. All of a sudden, Captain Crunch is alone with Water on the Lucio. Not much else to be said. This Orisa will finally fall. The Lucio soon to be next. And Vicious Sharks are not done yet.
I cannot believe that Vicious Sharks just took that. That's got to be the slowest ticking tick I've ever seen in my life. That one tick was taking, like, I swear I aged about like 5 years in the amount of time that one tick was taking to go up. But you've got life now if you're the Vicious Sharks. You've got your orbital ray for this next fight. You've got to avoid this blizzard of Gur. But overall, I would say you've got the advantage if you're the Vicious Shark. You just cannot let Galaxy continue to get all of these kills. They're not on the sim anymore, at least. So, you know, you'll at least somewhat know the Tracer is coming.
You will indeed here, as now the positioning is fought back and forth here for point D. It will be Sharks deciding to contest it first here, but, you know, it's just simply Mental Institution waiting for their moment, their opportunity, if you will. They have this Blizzard with Gur. They know as long as they can make sure to freeze at least one member up, this could be them getting the series. Infamous choosing to pop that orbital ray here. It's mirrored on the other side. Complex again, the first one to fall, and Static soon to follow here. Means Gur also going down at the hands of a spear. Water trying their best to keep this fight in the neutral here, and it seems like Galaxy on the Tracer is just what the doctor ordered for the side of Mental Institution. Torterra now missing that point, slowly ticking up, but Water is missing now. I think this is going to be a continuous back and forth affair. The recall force from Static, that Tracer now missing, looking for the next member to touch. As more and more point progress is going away here, the immortality field is not long for this world, just like Lucas. The stick from Galaxy, the highlight reel continues, but it's finally stopped. The Bob was not enough. The Terra Surge having to be popped in the middle of the Blizzard just to try to live a little bit longer here, but I think that it's finally short-lived. It's finally done. After a back and forth affair, Mental Institution will be advancing on in the bracket.
I got to shout out Water again on this map. That's 2 maps in a row that Water was just continuously getting the picks that were needed for their team to secure these final fights out. And it was just one of those swaps that came in. The Baptiste ended up being crucial. That damage coming out constantly. You saw Torterra completely abandon the point to just try and go take down Water because that Baptiste had gotten, I want to say, like 3 kills maybe in the middle of that fight. It was pretty intense plays from the side of Water going into those last fights. It's been Paraiso and the Throne of Anubis.
Sometimes the support is the deadliest member on the team, and that's all you need. But yeah, Mental Institution get a good win here. I gotta give credit to the Sharks, though. This scoreline does not do this series justice. It really was back and forth on a knife's edge across all 3 maps. You know, like you said earlier, Shadow, one fight goes differently. You definitely could see a world where Sharks is, you know, completely sitting in an opposite position.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 3-0 in scoreline, but it took everything Mental Institution had to really take each one of these maps. They were just coming up clutch time and time again right when they needed to. And like I said, great showing though from the side of Vicious Sharks. They can learn some stuff from this, go back and look, see where are those instances where they could make that play and they could be moving on further because they've still got a whole half of the season and then playoffs to go yet. So you know we're going to see them again coming up soon for sure.
Exactly. And while we could sing Mental Institution's praises all night long, I think they can do it better themselves here. So if you give us just a little bit of time, throw it to a quick break. We're going to set up an interview with our winners here. So make sure you stick around. We'll be right back. Alrighty, here we have ourselves we don't ever do MVPs for these series, but I'm going to dub the MVP here. We've got Galaxy on the mic with us here, and just to start things off, Galaxy, I gotta say, how do you do what you do, clutching up time and again? How do you do it?
I feel no pressure because I don't think. So you can't really get nerves if you don't think.
Yeah, that's fair. I
Exactly.
totally get that. I totally get that. You know, it makes total sense to me. It's like it's all just muscle memory at this point. So you're just blinking around, just like, oh, I know where to go. I'm gonna just go over here, do this. Bro, pulse bomb. Oh, it's stuck. All right, we got the kill. Let's go. All right, fight win. Here we go. But to add on to that, in a sense, what how did you determine when particular swaps were going to happen? Because I did notice there were a lot of just individual swaps that were happening throughout. Something I noticed, water in particular kept having these swaps and then clutching up towards the end of your maps and just getting continuous kills, just seemingly out of nowhere because they were not getting those same kills early on. Then they made one swap on map 2 to the brig, and then on map 3 they're playing that Baptiste and just getting a ton of kills there. So what prompts you guys to swap exactly, and what's your thought process behind your swaps?
Sometimes there is a thought process. Sometimes it's just like
Mhm.
if we don't feel like anything is working,
Mhm.
we trust each other enough to just make the swap, and it will work out.
All right,
Like
yeah.
when Smurfing went Ash or Tracer, whenever he just does his own thing, and I'm like, all right,
Mhm.
I trust it.
Yeah, I did notice that on Par ESO, y'all swapped who was playing Ash and who was playing Tracer between your attack and defense. I did notice that happening as well. Is there any team in the bracket that you're really really looking forward to play because you're going against Dakker's son next? That's who you're going to be playing next in the tournament. Is there any one of the teams that you're really just like, I want to play that team? I want to see how we stack up against that team.
Only short bus. That is it.
All
But-
right,
But are they even in the same bracket?
they're
Well,
on
they
the
are.
other side of the bracket. They did win their game earlier, so assuming that they win their next game against YE Snowfall,
Yep.
they will advance to the finals. And then, assuming you all can beat Dakker's son, then you could play them. There's potential for you to play them. Is the short answer.
Well, we're making finals, so we want to play Snowfall or short bus. We want to beat those teams.
Well, all right. You're gonna have your chance. First, you got to go through Dakker's son. That's gonna be your next match, and I'm at least gonna be looking forward to seeing it. I've been watching a lot of these teams. Honestly, this game felt really close to me. Did it feel really close playing it? Because it seemed like every fight was going like, every map was like one fight territory. It seemed like.
Well, it definitely felt close at some points, but I just felt like it was because I'm on 150 ping for some reason, and our team wasn't warmed up. I'm not gonna lie, we were not ready.
I see.
I mean, hey, not ready, but still getting the job done here. But with all that being said, I think Shadow hit on every point that I wanted to. So I guess I'll just turn the floor over to you, Galaxy. If there's anything you want to say, any shout outs, any declarations you want to make before we send you out here.
I want to shout out Crunch. He's my most favorite tank player. We're gonna get him champ tonight. I love him.
Hey,
He's my
listen.
favorite.
The love between a name like Captain Crunch and Galaxy is something to be admired. So you go on, celebrate with your team that nice victory, and we'll hopefully catch some of your more matches later on in the week.
All right, just watch out for some Genji gameplay. That's gonna happen. That's all I'm gonna say.
The Genji gameplay
Okay.
is gonna happen. I love when players and teams have confidence like that, Shadow. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, honestly, it is. Like, you like seeing the back and forth banter, it really adds to it. As well as, like, these are all the best teams in the tier, so seeing them go up against each other and seeing who can prevail and come out on top, everybody's obviously in this tournament because they're incredibly competitive. So getting to see that come out and we actually get to hear them talk about it now in these interviews, it's really fun to see.
Yeah, as we saw in that bracket graphic when it got thrown up, so all that is left in our mid-season for the NA console, it's all undefeated teams that have not lost this season yet. So 3 of them will finally experience defeat. One will have the ego above all other egos, but that'll have to be settled at another time in another place because we are done for the evening here. I'd like to thank you, Shadow. Amazing as always to cast with you. We've had Headrammer, the head honcho himself, producing the match. We had, I believe it was Orange and Mara as our lovely, lovely observers running it all behind the scenes. Make sure you guys are following the CGL channel because guess what? You can get tokens, you can get other crazy things. Plus, today's just Tuesday. We still have a whole week of mid-season tournament left, as well as the regular season beyond it for season 14. Tons of great things happening here at CGL, but at least for now, this is going to be a see you later.
See you later, everybody.